Information for visitors to Los Angeles, but first a word from our sponsor. Come on, little tadpole, don't be afraid. Time to evolve. Crawl towards the shallows where the slime turns orange. That's acid residue. This is the LA riverbed, the place you've been living for the last 41 days. Your mother left you here because she didn't want you. Crawl up the embankment to the highway. Open your little eyes. Do you know what that is in front of you? That's a police officer. He will hurt you. Do you feel that tingling in your spine? That's your first twinge of paranoia. Hold on to this moment. This is the purest feeling you will ever have. You'll spend the rest of your life trying to feel as alive as you do right now. You will make enough money to buy consumer poison and live in a small room and grind your life into powder. You'll fuck women with missing teeth and running sores. You'll buy drugs from their boyfriends and listen to compact discs of their bands. You're in LA now. Your life is already over. Come on, little tadpole, you mongoloid rapist. Time to go! When you enter Los Angeles, the best thing to do is immediately take cover. Dive for it. Stay low. There's less chance of a headshot if you stay down. If you take a shot to the head, no ambulance will come. You're going to bleed out and they won't be able to do a thing for you. The hospitals are already filled with less life-threatening examples of injury. The generic stabbing or random slug embedded in the limb. With the more minor injuries, say the low-caliber bullet in the jaw or a knife stuck in a leg, your typical Saturday night stuff, for a low price, you can fix yourself. They give you the anatomy and basic ER procedure books, and there's even a floater who goes around from table to table to watch over and advise. But cannot in any way be held liable for information, advice, or action that leads to the death of a patient or amputation of a limb or any result that could in any way be termed as negative. These are non-negotiable points and immediately go into effect as soon as anyone walks through the doorway of the DIY ward. So don't even think of trying to bring your case to one of those Judge Judy pieces of shit because we'll rape and beat you until you beg to be killed to stop the pain. Kind of like tech support. You pay for the disposable instruments, morphine and plastic sheets. I know what you're thinking. No, you can't stab yourself in the leg, limp in and buy morphine cheap. It's really expensive and they only sell it in small quantities, so don't even think about it. If you sign a waiver, you can bring in your own stuff, though. In some places, like the Rampart Division, they don't even have a waiver form. You can just do what you want. Some of these gangster guys have become surprisingly efficient at slug extraction, closing punctures, and even sterilizing of wounds. That's what usually gets people, the infection a few days later. Arms swell and tear open, sutures open up, abscesses, lesions, gangrene, septic infection. Good thing for that disclaimer or the courts would be tied up even worse than they are now. Anyway, just stay the hell down and there's a good chance you can avoid an unfortunate experience like this. If you are moving to or just visiting the city of Los Angeles, the name, by the way, roughly translates into the land of many ruined fuckers, or more concisely, the crippled ones, you will have a lot of things to get used to. First off, the air. You will spend a good few weeks in different levels of distress as your lungs and heart acclimate to the quality of air. Symptoms include vomiting, seizures, thickening of the blood, insomnia, ringing in the ears, diarrhea, blindness, erratic and fluctuating heart rate, hair loss and impotence. Others may experience depression and listlessness, a feeling of low energy, hopelessness. Visitors, don't worry. Many of the better hotels feature oxygen tanks and lightweight backpacks or on wheelies with affordable day rates, and some of the 4-star hotels have entire floors of rooms with relatively clean and breathable air, with executive suites providing bulletproof windows and panic rooms. These rooms are not cheap and go fast around holidays and premieres, so go online and get your reservations ASAP. Those of you planning to spend a longer period of time in the filthy cripple are advised just to dive in and get it over with. It's like getting jumped into a gang or raped in prison. Hurts at first, but then you're in. Okay, so we've covered the air. What's next? Next on the list would be dealing with the law enforcement community. You will have interactions with the police. There's no question about that. How bad you're going to get it is totally up to you and lady luck. If you're white, you can expect the routine body search, car search, and occasional kidney punch while cuffed. The best thing to do if you're Caucasian and you see a police officer within a city block of you, and he or she, it's hard to tell them apart with the growth hormone injections they're required to take these days, starts walking towards you, the best thing to do is avoid eye contact and do not, I cannot overemphasize this, do not speak to a filthy cripple law enforcement officer unless they speak to you first. I have seen senior citizens thrown down to the ground, pepper-gassed and cuffed for asking directions to Man's Chinese Theater, their oxygen tanks getting hopelessly scratched and dented in the process. Eye contact and verbal communication that is not initiated by the law enforcement official is seen as confrontational and challenging. They are within the law to take you down. So, what do we do when we see FCPD officers? That's right. We walk slowly, hands in plain sight, back where we came out of. Some visitors never get out of the lobby of the hotel, so be prepared to spend an extra few days to see the sights. Preparation is key. For those of you who are not white, here are some tips to avoid getting maimed, killed, or otherwise detained by the men and/or women of the SCPD. There are skin lightening and eye rounding treatments available. Look what Michael Jackson was able to achieve in just several long, expensive, and painful visits to the dermatologist. They couldn't get the skin underneath his nails, hence the band-aids he wears on his fingertips in public. Although some close to him will tell you that he sometimes puts on the bandages to avoid getting the fecal matter of children in his cuticles. Also, non-whites are advised to do anything they can to seem Caucasian or otherwise unthreatening. The music of Loggins and Messina, Beck, or Puff Daddy playing in your rental car when driving can make the police hesitate to pull you over and smash your head in. A cup of Starbucks coffee in plain sight is also a good thing. Let's get on to the fun stuff. The Big Filthy is a colorful and relentlessly fascinating place to furtively lurk and fearfully view others. Seeing some of the locals will give you stories to keep your friends and relatives nauseated and glued to their chairs for hours when you get back to America. Here's a few things to expect. Notebooks out, shutterbugs. You can expect to see a lot of people who appear to have wire protruding from parts of their skulls or faces. These are genuine abortion survivors and make up over 28% of our population. Many of you remember the report Geraldo Rivera, real name Jerry Rivers, filed on these brave and tortured souls, only to reveal at the end of the hour that he too was an abortion survivor and proudly showed the scar where the coat hanger had been removed years ago. Well, not everyone can afford this surgery, so you will see these people who are meant to be dead now and again. Feel free to make donations to them, but don't take the prayer card they give in return because they're usually infected with something untreatable. Before we go further, a note to parents. Do not let your children feed the homeless when they come up to the windows of the tour bus. Children and others have lost fingers and suffered painful injuries this way. These people are hungry. We in the city of dried blood and bullet casings have a thing about always looking our best, so expect to see a lot of surgical enhancement. Huge-breasted and fish-lipped men and women are common on these garbage-strewn and vomit-splattered streets. They are usually up for a photo op, and if you're lucky, you can see them drain the putrid black fluid from the sores on their legs. But most of the time, they're on their way to an audition and only have time to perform brief sex acts at surprisingly affordable prices. To make the entertainment industry work, it's go, go, go! Many tours of the stars' homes are available and can be booked with a hotel concierge. Due to the recent rash of tourist deaths stemming from overzealous security, many locations are now off limits. Sharon Stoner's bungalow is a no-go for tourists now due to the 3 deaths that occurred near her property last month. She was quoted in the monthly magazine White Right as saying, "There's a sign in front of my trailer home that says, 'My dogs eat kids.' People must think I'm joking." Although Miss Stoner's acting career is flatline, and one of the Disney head honchos recently referred to her as that psycho cunt, she is still Mensa and never jokes. She also eats Spam brand potted meat product and has on occasion vomited large quantities of human and canine fetal remains while walking down the red carpet of movie premieres. She rubs the chunks into the carpet and pretends that no one noticed. Hey, Hugh Grant hired a whore to service him, got busted, and no one noticed besides Jay Leno. People are still sacrificing small animals at the spot where Hugh the Spew was apprehended. Guess we're noticing now. Thanks, Jay. We have so many stars, directors, agents, and other whores here, I could go on for days with their stories. Come visit. Come see why people hate and fear America, the great Satan. On a side note, I just want to say that tampons are smaller these days because women are bleeding less. Know why? Because the human race is drying up. Soon all women will look like Callista Dogheart, breastless, terrified, neurotic. We wonder, she adopted because A, she feels sorry for orphan children, B, she didn't want to interrupt her career with pregnancy, C. Her womb is lined with alkaloid and sulfate deposits and nothing can grow there? Or D. Other. I also heard that part of the Pentagon that was destroyed on September 11, 2001 was not, I repeat, not the part of the structure where the gas chambers are located. They are in a different part of the building and many floors below. This refutes the article in Strolling Stoned. The head editor of said publication does what a lot of people do all over the world all the time. He performs oral sex on young men. I say this to dispel rumors that this activity only takes place in back rooms of the Vatican and other Catholic venues. I'm saying it's okay. I'm saying it's okay to come home. I'm saying everything's going to be all right.